So my interest in 3D printing came from this old yacht I've got sitting in the corner of my living room. And it's not a great model. It's about 1.5 meters long. But it's classic and it's, I don't know, has a sort of a touch of warmth to it. And I thought, well, this is old school, which I love, but why don't I design something and print something that's state of the art? And I'm a big fan of the America's Cup yachts, and so I thought, you know what, why don't I just design my own yacht? I'm going to make it modern and sleek and fast. It's going to sit up on foils. It's going to have wings for sails. It's going to look cool. And it's going to be real. This yacht is then now designed as a 100-foot yacht. And as you can see, it flies along on its foils, and it's a bit of a party boat. And it's designed for flat water racing and ocean racing. And I thought, right, what a great project. And so I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to print this up. I'm going to make a scaled model of this massive yacht and all of its interiors and its accessories that go along with luxury yachts. And here's just a little render that I did of the yacht, just to see what it would look like in video, and really just before I converted it all into a model. So it was all split up, exported into STL files, and then sent to the slicer. So I'm using the Prusa slicer, which I think works pretty well. So this is my dining room, my desk, my 3D printer, the artillery Sidewinder, and what is about a 1.6 meter model sitting on top of it. So I started off with a cube, and it seemed to print perfectly. The dog tested that; it was good and solid. And then I printed this other thing, and all the lines seemed to be doing what they're supposed to do, and it all just seemed to be working really well. So I thought, well, you know what? Let's get into it. Let's just print this thing. So I took my model and I divided it into segment sizes that were going to fit onto that hot plate, that 300mm by 300mm by 400mm high hot plate. Then I sliced it up. I then had to come up with a mechanism of how I'm going to join these things. So I designed a clip system. And in the duration of all of this, I mean, it's a massive learning curve as to learning about filaments and how to undo the structures that you've put into the model. Here's some of my tools that I use. Lots of knives, obviously. There's lots of failures in this process, and prints that just you have to abort because something goes wrong and it doesn't stick and things curl up around the edges. But you eventually work out your temperatures and you work out what works and you stick with those things. And each of these parts that you see here all have individual settings, and there is no one setting that suits all of these parts. Every single piece that you see in front of you have all been adjusted. Here's 40 hours of print time with a support structure that was impossible to get rid of, and I ended up breaking it. I'm loving cubic as my infill, and I keep these little jars of all the failures just to remind me of what worked and what didn't work. And then I've got pieces that I'm trying to get my head around as to how I'm going to assemble it. But slowly, piece by piece, surely but surely, this yacht is now evolving, and all of the interior will come along soon. These big pieces here in this midsection of the yacht, they will have remote control foiling arms, battery operated foiling arms. The mast is 1.8 meters in height, and in reality this yacht's going to be just over 100 feet. And so putting little scaled models of people into the model is important. And all these individual segments are now actually going to be reprinted, redesigned, back to the drawing board and reprinted. There's lots of moving parts, and eventually it'll all be primed and painted, and it'll go into my living room. You can see just here I've even started experimenting with printing out the sailcloth. This sail will be nearly 2 meters in height, and it's going to be a process to actually print a sailcloth. But it's all part of the fun. And lastly, what I'd like to say to anyone who's new to printing, and I'm a newbie, I've only been doing this for 4 weeks now, is expect to go through a lot of filament. And you have a bin full of spaghetti monsters, loads of brooms, loads of support structures, and all destined for the recycling bin.